Alright everybody, it's Virginia Outdoors Unlimited here. Today I'm going to be doing another duck hunting 101 video. Today's video I'm going to be talking about the American black duck. The reason I want to talk about the American black duck today is because on the the Atlantic Flyway, the American black duck is one of our key species. It's kind of an iconic species. They were hunted on the Chesapeake Bay throughout the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast for since the beginning of waterfowling in the United States. And unfortunately, over the past 60 years, they'd made a really rapid decline. Their numbers used to be really, really high, and they dropped significantly. And because of that, the regulations were that you could only harvest one black duck per day. That's all you could have, one black duck in your bag limit, and that was it. Fortunately, this year, they've actually raised the bag limit to 2 black ducks per day, which for most of the country isn't that big of a deal. But for a lot of our mid-Atlantic states and northeast states, that's it's a really big deal because black ducks comprise a lot of the bag limit. I mean, not as much as wood ducks or mallards maybe, but they do comprise a large amount of the bag limit. So what I'm going to discuss today is just kind of 3 things. I'm going to discuss the reason why they're increasing the bag limit, how it affects my hunting, and especially hunting in the Atlantic Flyway, and thirdly, my kind of opinion on increasing the bag limit and what I think that's going to do. So the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries released a really good article where they kind of answered a bunch of questions, and they listed 3 reasons why they're increasing the black duck limit. And I want to kind of go through these 3 reasons because I think they're pretty important to understand. So the first reason, and the most important reason, is that the black duck numbers, so from 1950 to the 1990s, the black duck numbers declined significantly. Their long-term average was about 650,000, and they dropped really, really low, had a really bad decline. And part of the reason for that was hybridization. I forgot to touch on this at the beginning, so I'll touch on it now. But black ducks really suffer from hybridization. What that means is that black ducks, because they're relatively closely related to mallards. They're the same size, same body shape. They inhabit a lot of the same areas. And because of that, black ducks and mallards tend to mate together, and they create hybrid ducks. So a mallard drake might mate with a black duck female, or the other way around, and that creates kind of a dilution of the black duck genes. When those 2 species mix, it's not a true black duck anymore, and so they aren't counted as a black duck. So when they did kind of species data collection, they don't count those mixed hybrids as black ducks. So because a lot of the eastern flyway mallards were mating with black ducks, it created a large decline in black duck numbers and made it seem like we might have trouble keeping black duck numbers steady. However, since the 1990s, black duck numbers have started to level off. They've maintained around 600,000, so just a little bit below the long-term average. But during that time, since the 1990s, black duck harvest numbers have declined significantly. In the Atlantic Flyway, black duck harvest numbers used to be around 300,000, and now they've declined to well below 200,000. So over a third of the harvest of black ducks has declined. And because of that, they feel like that if they increase the bag limit from 1 duck to 2 ducks, that harvest number isn't going to increase that much to where it's going to be detrimental to the species, and they think the population can still remain stable. The second part is that wildlife managers and biologists feel like they have a lot better idea of the black ducks, how they work now. In the past, in the 1990s, 1980s, when the black duck limit was officially first set, biologists didn't know that much about black ducks. They were kind of a species that was localized to the Atlantic Flyway, and there wasn't that much research on them. But since that time, it's been 25 years since the 1990s, and a lot of research has gone into the black ducks, and wildlife biologists feel like they know a lot more now than they did in the past. So they feel like they can be able to model our harvest numbers they can model the limit a lot better nowadays and make sure that we're not going to be detrimental to the species by harvesting 2 black ducks per day. And thirdly, they stated that the biological data gathering is greatly improved compared to the 1990s, early 2000s. So we get a lot better counts of ducks now. We're able to estimate harvest numbers a lot better nowadays. We're able to estimate the amount of ducks there are. So we're able to get a lot better counts on the number of ducks in a species. And because of that, they think that, well, basically what they're saying is that if 2 ducks a day is detrimental, they will know that right away. So if next spring they go out and they see the black duck numbers are way down, then they will know right away, okay, we're going back to 1 black duck per day, and we're going to make sure that we're not harvesting the species. So this 2 black ducks a day is more of an experiment, really. They're kind of taking the educated guess and saying, we think this isn't going to be detrimental, but if it is, we can very quickly make a change and make sure that we're not going to have long-term damaging effects on that species. So those are the 3 reasons. How that affects eastern flyway hunting it's pretty big, actually. A lot, especially in Virginia, in my state, the Chesapeake Bay and the eastern shore of Virginia. There are a lot of black ducks out there. A lot of black ducks winter in those areas, and because of that, a lot of people. I had a friend who last year went out to the eastern shore of Virginia on a hunt, and both days they were out there, both Saturday and Sunday. They set up and they had huge flocks of black ducks came in. They shot their 1 black duck and they were done for the day. Those were the only ducks they saw. They might have seen a little bit of divers, but those were the only puddle ducks they saw. And because of that, having this increase from 1 ducks per day to 2 ducks per day creates a lot of better opportunities for hunters in Virginia. It allows you to fill your bag limit. So let's say you're going out and you want to get all 6 ducks. In the past, if you're hunting an area that has predominantly mallards and black ducks, you might be able to harvest your 4 mallards and your 1 black duck, and you were done. You didn't get your 6th duck for the day. But now this allows people to fill their bag limits and allows people to really have better opportunities to harvest more of these really iconic ducks. I don't think that the 2 black ducks per day is going to make a huge difference in terms of guiding or anything like that. But especially the northeast states, where black ducks are kind of the predominant species, it's going to allow hunters to get out and harvest more black ducks, and hopefully it'll create a more kind of awareness to the black ducks, and hopefully we'll get more funding and stuff like that so that more research can be done into this species. Lastly, my opinion on this increase in bag limit. Personally, I'm kind of split on it. I think there's positives and negatives. I'm kind of against it for the reason that the black duck is still below the long-term average. We've seen kind of very slow increase in numbers. So the black duck has been stable, but the numbers haven't been increasing when we were only harvesting 1 black duck per day. So I think 2 black ducks per day, I'd really like to see, if we were going to make that change, I'd like to see it happen once we got to the long-term average. We're still below the long-term average. The black ducks haven't made a full recovery yet. So I think we should have probably stuck with the limit we had, but I do understand the reasoning behind it. I think it's kind of an experiment, and hopefully it'll be a really informative experiment. If they see that the black duck numbers go down, then that helps them understand for all species that maybe even if they think that hunters aren't going to kill as many, that might not always be true. So it helps. It's going to be a very informative experience for wildlife biologists either way. Either they're going to see that these numbers are sustainable and that increasing harvest limits doesn't mess up a species that much, or they're going to see that this is kind of detrimental and they probably need to reverse it. I probably think we're going to end up sticking with 2 ducks per day. I know we did it with canvasbacks a few years back. Wood ducks went from 2 to 3. So normally when they increase a bag limit, they've done a lot of research and they're very confident. It's not something they rush. I do think the black duck is a very finicky species, and we could see changes, especially because harvest numbers and breeding isn't what is as much hurting them as hybridization, and the mixing with mallards is really diluting the black duck genes and the black duck species. So if you guys had any questions, if you guys think I said something that's wrong, if I was incorrect, or if you guys just have any additional insight, please leave a comment down below. And duck season comes in 2 days to be exact. Wednesday morning, hopefully going to be getting out, going on a hunt. So make sure you guys subscribe. Duck season's right around the corner, and I'm going to be making plenty more of these Duck Hunting 101 videos. So yeah, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you guys can be alerted as soon as the videos come out. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed.